Alaikum everyone. My name is Huzaifah Ahmed and I'm from Rehan School Korangi campus. Today the topic of discussion with ChatGPT is how to practice self-compassion and forgive yourself. So let's start. Hey ChatGPT, today the topic of discussion is how to practice self-compassion and forgive yourself.
That's a really powerful topic, and it's something a lot of us struggle with. I think a big starting point is recognizing that self compassion is really about treating yourself like you would treat a good friend, being kind, patient, and understanding in those moments when you slip up. What's been on your mind about it? Are you looking for practical exercises or just a bit of a mindset shift?
What exactly is self-compassion and how is it different from self-pity or making excuses for your own self?
That's a really important distinction. So, self compassion is really about being kind, supportive toward yourself when you're struggling, recognizing that imperfection is part of being human. It's not about ignoring your faults, but holding them with care. Self pity, on the other hand, is more about getting stuck in a negative cycle, focusing on how hard things are, but without that kind, balanced perspective. And making excuses is kind of a different thing, too. It's avoiding responsibility, often justifying behavior without genuine reflection. So self compassion is really balanced. It acknowledges pain, but it also treats yourself with care and accountability.
All right. Now, a question that is stuck with me is why do so many people find it easier to show compassion to others but struggle to extend it to themselves?
Yeah, that's such a common experience. And it often comes down to how we were conditioned. A lot of us are raised to be empathetic toward others, but we internalize a harsh inner critic. We judge ourselves by really high standards, or we fear that if we let ourselves off the hook, we'll never improve. But it's like any skill. The more we practice self compassion, the easier it becomes to apply it. And it actually helps us grow more sustainably in the long run.
Okay, what does research say on self compassion? I believe it was by Dr. Kristin Neff. And why is it considered groundbreaking in psychology?
Kristen Neff is a pioneering psychologist whose research has really shaped our understanding of self compassion. She identified three core components: self kindness versus self judgment, common humanity versus isolation, and mindfulness versus over identification. In 2003, she developed the self compassion scale, a widely used tool. Work is considered breaking because compassion is linked to lower stress, less anxiety, and greater resilience, offering a balanced approach to personal growth.
All right. I want you to differentiate between self compassion and low standards. Can you be kind to yourself and still strive for excellence?
Absolutely. That's a really important distinction. Self compassion doesn't mean lowering your standards or settling for less. Instead, it means that while you hold yourself to high standards, you also give yourself the same care you would give a friend when you fall short. So you still aim for growth and excellence, but you don't beat yourself up if things don't go perfectly. It's a balance. You stay ambitious, but you stay kind.
All right, got that. What does science say about how self criticism and harsh inner dialogue affect mental health, motivation, and performance?
Research shows that harsh self criticism strongly predicts poorer mental health, like increased anxiety, depression, and burnout. It also reduces well being and can harm performance because it leads to rumination, procrastination, and a loss of motivation. In contrast, self compassion, being kind to yourself, is linked to resilience, better motivation, and healthier coping, making it a more effective approach to long term success.
What does it actually mean to forgive yourself? Is it about forgetting, excusing, or something more intentional?
Yeah, it's definitely more intentional than just excusing yourself. Forgiveness is about acknowledging the mistake or the pain, taking responsibility for what you can, and then making a conscious choice to let go of that inner weight. It's not about pretending nothing happened or avoiding accountability. It's about creating space for growth and healing so you can move on with a lighter heart.
What role does accountability play in self-compassion? Uh, can you take the responsibility and still be gentle with
That's a
yourself?
Exactly. Accountability and self compassion actually go hand in hand. When you're accountable, you're taking ownership of your actions, which is really empowering. And self compassion softens that process. You can say, and that doesn't define me. I can learn from this and still treat myself with respect. So accountability is like the anchor, and self compassion is the fuel that keeps you moving forward.
All right, how do guilt and shame differ? And why does shame make self forgiveness so much harder to achieve?
Yeah, that's a really key difference. Guilt is more about what you did, like I made a mistake. So it's behavior focused. Shame, though, is more about who you are, like I am a failure. And that's why shame is so corrosive. It attacks your sense of self. So when you're wrapped in shame, it's harder to forgive yourself because it feels like you're unworthy of compassion. But with guilt, you can still see yourself as a good person who made a mistake, which opens the door to healing.
How do culture and religious backgrounds shape the way people relate to self forgiveness and self compassion?
Oh, that's a really nuanced piece. Different cultures and religions can really shape how we see fault and redemption. In some religious traditions, for instance, self compassion might be seen as essential for receiving divine forgiveness, whereas in other cultures, self criticism might be valued as a way to stay humble or strive for improvement. So, depending on the framework, some people might feel more guilt or shame from their background, which can either help or hinder their ability to forgive themselves.
All right, what are the most effective evidence based practices for developing self compassion and genuinely forgiving yourself?
Research highlights a few key evidence based practices for building self compassion and self forgiveness. First, mindful awareness helps you notice and name self critical thoughts. Second, a self compassion break uses three elements: kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness when you're struggling. Writing a self forgiveness letter where you acknowledge your mistake and release self condemnation also helps. Finally, reframing your inner critic into a supportive coach boosts resilience and motivation.
Finally, what's one self compassion exercise someone can practice today when they catch themselves being harshly self critical?
A simple exercise you can try today is the self compassion break. So when you notice that harsh inner voice, pause and put a hand on your heart or your cheek. Then say to yourself something like, "This is a moment of struggle. I'm not alone. Everyone struggles. May I be kind to myself in this moment." Just a few breaths of that, and it can really shift you out of self criticism and into a kinder mindset.
All right, everyone, this was the end of my discussion with ChatGPT for today. I hope you liked it. I learned a lot from it actually. So, until the next one, Allah Hafiz.